All right. Well, welcome everyone. I'm going to give it another 2 minutes or so just to get let everybody kind of signing on and getting in here. A couple additional minutes, and then we'll get started. All right. Well, my name is Matt Hostacki. Let's go here so everybody can kind of see my smiling face. My name is Matt Hostacki. I'm the regional sales manager for Flex IP Solutions, also a product manager for Flex Text. So thank you and welcome. Appreciate you joining us. Good afternoon or good morning, depending on what coast you're on. Uh, so what are we going to do today? We're going to explain why you're here or what you're looking for, the why not, which will make more sense in a little bit, but we're also going to do texting statistics, some very powerful statistics to kind of help kind of prove out the case as to why communications are moving in this vertical or fashion. We're going to go over some use cases. So most folks know the two most common use cases for text messaging, which are appointment reminders or some form of text or marketing. So think of promo codes. You know, you just received a text message, reply with this promo code, receive 20% off widgets, something like that. But we're going to go over some more additional use cases that folks may have not thought of. Then we're going to discuss what flex text features are. So, some terminology that you'll see throughout here. So don't be scared if you're not familiar with what a tag or a time text or a text cast is. We're going to explain that along the way and at the end. And then we're also going to do flex text plans. So what's it cost? And then some questions and answers. So we have a lot of slides. I'm not going to take a ton of time. A lot of this stuff is very bite-sized, easy to digest type of information. So we should get you out of here in about 30 minutes. Slides should take about 25 minutes or so, and then a few minutes for questions and answers. And then I'll let you get back to your day. So with that, let's get right to it. So the why and the why not. So why are you here? Well, like most business folks, we're looking to increase revenue in some form or fashion, especially if we have an existing customer base. Maybe we can pull from that, right? Everybody's looking to add new customers. So how can texting do that for us? Increase operational efficiency. This is one of my favorite ones because our system does things that most other systems out there right now just do not because of its two-way capability, meaning two-way conversations with text. It's not just a one-way thing. And we also can queue up text. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more and how this can increase operational efficiency. We're also going to improve customer experiences. So once again, we'll talk a little bit about how texting can help out with that. And then improve targeted marketing, meaning everybody has some form of targeting or marketing, if depending on what industry you're in. But this truly is the most targeted form of marketing there is, right? Everybody's holding a cell phone almost all day. You can't get more direct or targeted than that. So the why not? Everybody's looking for a reason. Well, I don't really want to do this. It doesn't make sense. Okay. There's a 2-week free trial. There are no upfront fees. There are no contracts. And it's as little as $45 a month if you pay annually. So that's the why not. We've pretty much eliminated any excuses for this. The reason why I put this slide up front, wanted to grab your attention, give you some food for thought while we go through this. We're going to, touch upon some things a little bit deeper as we move through the webinar. So some statistics. So roughly 65% or so of the world has, a smartphone. in 2021, so 3.8 billion folks. 67 million people in America redeem coupons via mobile phones, so that should hit home. That's a pretty big number, especially if you're looking to market or do some kind of promotion to folks. This is a very direct way to do it. Now, these last four are probably my favorite statistics because I use them all the time. 98% is the open rate for SMS compared to email. Anybody know what email is? 5% would make your marketing folks do a dance and pop champagne. 85%, it's the percent of people polled, not our poll, it's a national poll, want to receive offers via SMS. So your customers want to communicate with their cell phones through text messages. And then 45% of text messages receive a response. Can you imagine getting a almost 50% response rate through email? Once again, your marketing folks would probably retire. They'd be gods. And then 90 seconds is the average time it takes a person to read a text. So everybody knows you get an alert, even if you just have everything in silent, you see your phone alerts up, you take a look at it, you preview it. So we'll go through these pretty quickly, but 48.7 million people chose to receive business SMSs in 2020. Text signups for mobile customers grew by 50% or a little higher in 2020. Pandemic certainly helped out with that. Pandemic doesn't seem to be going away, unfortunately. Not sure that it's going to shut anything down, but this is definitely something that folks need to think about. How are you communicating with your customers or potential customers? That's why signups for mobile alerts are definitely growing. I don't know if this is scary or fun or what, but 66% of Americans check their phones 160 times per day. That seems like a whole lot, but I'm sure if you thought about it and counted it, we're all probably right there. Buyers are more likely to open offer messages compared to other types of messages. When done properly, and we can show you how to do this, when done properly, people like getting response or offer messages on their cell phone. It's nice, it's easy, especially if it's for products that they want. It's just a nice reminder. Hey, guess what? 25% off of mulch this, if you order this week through us, something like that. And then half the couponers in the United States use mobile phones. We kind of saw that in the 67 million, people that redeemed a coupon or a redemption code of some sort. So this is a great way to get in front of your customers and get that mind share that I know everybody's looking for. So use cases, a lot of what we spoke about right now or up until this point has been marketing, and that's certainly powerful. It's definitely a big portion of the system. However, there are other use cases that really drive the value behind Flex Text, but also for your customers. So let's take a look at some of these. So we talked about marketing. Sales kind of gets folded into marketing, but let's just think of maybe like a car salesperson. You're texting back and forth with a potential customer. So that's one way you can use the system. Customer retention. This is great. I'm going to kind of fold in that surveys and polling that's down to the right. So you can send out a survey or a poll to find out, how are your sales folks doing? How's customer service? How are your products? How are your services? It's another great way, like I'm going to use that mulch example. Hey, everybody's going to do some form of yard work or mulch or something in the springtime, right? Well, why don't you hit your customers in February, March and send that promotion code out, right? You have them logged in the system. You probably have their phone number. Send something out. That way you retain that customer and they're not going to a competing place to get their mulch, to get their lawn service, something like that. Everybody's familiar with appointment reminders, and let's just expand that out beyond the usual dentist or healthcare or HVAC company. You can do more things with appointment reminders. Your CPA, your lawyer, anybody that's doing some kind of an appointment or delivery, you can use the system to do that. It just makes it a more professional experience and a better customer experience. Customer service, this is wonderful. Why would you want to sit on hold for 15, 30, 45 minutes for customer service when you can text? Our system queues up text the same way call centers queue up phone calls. The difference is you're not walking around with a phone glued to your ear. waiting for somebody to respond to you so you can ask a simple question to get some customer service. Your text can get answered in the same order as it was received, just like a phone call. The difference is people can be shopping. You can go walk around the grocery store, get alert on your phone. They answered my text question. They have an additional question for me. Okay, I can answer that right here while I'm shopping for lettuce, something like that. It gives your customers better experience. Job postings. So you can broadcast out and you can do keywords like text job for a list of our current job openings, and you can go a step beyond that. You can automate things, at least with our system, where you can set if somebody were to reply with a certain keyword or message, um, you can set up exactly what the job requirements are, what the starting pay is. You can send a link to sign up or send in their resume for that job. There's a whole lot of things you can do with the system for job postings that might be a little bit better than just, hey, we're hiring right now, and you have a sign out front. You can use alerts internally, externally. So for an HR person, I'm going to fold it into the last one. You can send an alert out to your employees. Hey, don't forget to sign up for your medical benefits this month, or keep the same ones you had last year. This is the window to change your benefits. Company picnic this month, things like that. Alerts can be whatever you want. I'm sure we can find a million use cases for them. If you're a municipality, you can send it out. Hey, bridge closed at Lorraine and Smith Road, something like that. And then we already talked about what surveys and polling can do, and you can do this via text. Very simple. We're going to go into some specific verticals now, just quickly, just to kind of highlight some of the things you can do. So once again, we have automations and different things that our system FlexText can do that would answer common questions. You can basically give folks a menu just like a phone. If they were to call in and get that phone tree, press 1 for hours of service, press 2 for our menu, press 3 for our locations. You can do the same thing with text messaging, and it makes it very easy for them to get a hold of that. The other thing you can do with tags or time text, and we'll talk about that a little bit more, but tags, think of a tag as a way to segment your customers, right? So they buy widget A or they buy widget B. What if you could pull a list of your customers that bought widget A, right? So you can send out a text message, hey, this week only, promotion on widget A, use promotional code ABC, 20% off, something like that. Travel agencies are fun because there's a ton of things you can do with travel agencies, right? So you can communicate travel delays, weather issues. You can send out recommendations for restaurants or locations, or you can use surveys to get feedback. Hey, was this restaurant that we recommended good? Did you like the hotel? You can also give notifications if there was some kind of delay in their flight, or if there was something going on, especially if they're overseas. Hey, we noticed that there's some issues, in your neck of the woods over in this particular area. Please watch out for this. Or hey, maybe a hurricane's coming. You're in the tropics. Hey, we know this hurricane might touch by you. Yeah, here's some additional places that maybe you want to check out that's outside of where that hurricane may hit. So there's a lot of different things you can do with this, and it all keeps the text messaging within the company's system, meaning you're not using your personal cell phone to text these people this information, which makes it wonderful. Restaurants, once again, you can basically set our system up with automation so that they can get hours of service, locations, daily specials. One of the cool things that we've actually heard a restaurant do is they will take a picture of their latest special. So, the chef creates this big bodacious burger, and they snap a picture of it, and then they send it out to all their patrons that signed up for their specials. And they're like, hey, this week the burgers, usually $9.99. This week it's $7.99 when you come in and use this promotional code or something like that. And it's this big, juicy bacon and cheese burger, and everybody looks at it. And of course you want it because you see that big, juicy burger. But they've had a ton of success sending these out, and they get spikes in sales every time they do. So that's a really cool way to kind of use the system to interact with your customers. The other one, if you didn't go out to restaurants during the shutdown or shortly after, those buzzers are disgusting and gross, and how many people touch them every day. Now you can hit people direct. If they're waiting for tables, you can just text them, hey, your table's ready. So that's another really cool way to use the system. Professional services, great way to remind folks of their appointment, great way to remind folks to bring certain materials, great way to send out billing notices. Hey, use this link to access your bill from us and pay it here, things like that. So a lot of different things you can do with the professional services depending on what professional service you're actually in. Another good thing you can do with this is if you're a CPA, tax attorney, something like that, you can send out, hey, it's almost tax season, don't forget about us, we can prepare your tax documents for $100, something like that. Home service and deliveries, especially with the amount of deliveries that are going on today. We're all getting more and more deliveries, right? We're just kind of in that Amazon Zulily type of world out there. So if you're doing service or you're doing deliveries, it's great to send out, hey, your package was delivered at this time, and it's a timestamp. You can send a picture message of the person doing the service at the home so that they know who it is. You can send a picture of the person delivering the materials so that they know who it is. It gives peace of mind, better customer experience, just more professional. Senior care is a great example, or has some different use cases depending on whether you're in assisted living, highly skilled, or a semi-skilled. So if you're in a semi-skilled or assisted living facility and you're really just kind of helping folks out, manage some of the stuff that they do, and it's not a full service type of situation, this could be great just to give alerts to folks out there, right? Hey, we're doing an event, we're doing a special. Hey, we're opening our pool this week. Invite your family members. Send out these notifications, these alerts. It's also a great way for staff to communicate. If it's a highly skilled thing, it's a great way to communicate some updates. Hey, this is what grandma or grandpa we're doing. Look, we're doing arts and crafts. They're having a great day. Just kind of update family and friends with what they're doing. Once again, another great way to kind of communicate with these folks instead of phone calls and email all the time. Hey, noticed your grandfather, your grandmother were kind of having a bad day. Would love to talk to you about it. When you have some time, please give us a call because obviously you don't want a record of this. But we want to be able to communicate this via voice, in a different manner. But it gives that person the ability to kind of call when they're able to, but give them an alert as to what that call's about. Construction's great because obviously there's probably not really good internet there, and you might need to have a little cover your butt, right? So because our system does time stamps, you can actually communicate progress and updates and things that are going on, and you have a cover your butt timestamp. Hey, I sent this text out to you and said we finished the basement and here's the way it looks. Here's some pictures. You see that we did this to spec, and here it was done July 19th at 5:40 p.m., so on and so forth. And you can go back and pull that if you need to. So there's a lot of different things you can kind of do with this. Medical and healthcare, obviously everybody knows about appointments, but prescription refills. We've actually heard some folks using this for prescription refills, both from a healthcare perspective and a veterinarian practice. They have an entire line dedicated just to prescription refills, and you can just kind of text it in. This is what I need, this is the information, so on and so forth. And it just makes once again, it's customer service or patient service, makes it very easy and a more enjoyable experience for everyone. Municipalities are a great one because you probably, a community, a city, probably already have most of your folks' numbers anyway. But it's great if a water main breaks in a main road, if you could communicate that to your, constituents or your residents. You could also say, hey, don't forget, this weekend only. It's garage sale days. You don't need a permit. Things like that. July 4th festival, we're doing fireworks, 10 p.m. at the park, things like that. There's a lot of different things, especially for like parks and recreation. You can use this for, soccer, football, baseball, basketball. That way you can broadcast this out. Hey, don't forget about signups for this year's spring soccer, or baseball's right around the corner. Don't forget to sign up. Use this link to go to our webpage to sign your son or daughter up. Nonprofits, this one I really like, and I usually spend a little bit more time on this because there's a couple different ways to look at this from a nonprofit perspective. One, you need volunteers. A lot of them need volunteers, right? So whether you're building homes on the weekend or you're packing boxes with food, how nice would it be if you already have a list of your volunteers or potential volunteers? You could just say, hey, you know what, we're 3 volunteers shy. We need 3 volunteers for 10 to noon shift on Saturday to pack some boxes for food, right? Wouldn't that be awesome? You just reach 1,000 possible volunteers. You probably get a response almost immediately. If you have an automated thing, you can send them to a website through a link. And then fundraising. Fundraising is a great way. This is an unintrusive way to kind of hit somebody, for funds. It's not making phone calls, or doing some of the other things that kind of get in front of people's face. You can send a text message out. Hey, we're looking to raise $5,000 this month for Meals on Wheels or something like that. Use this link to donate. Any donations appreciated. Thank you very much. Right? It's quick. It's easy. Folks are just more likely to, donate if it's not in their face and they don't feel obligated to it. Right? Religious organizations, they kind of fold into a couple different things, right? Like municipalities and nonprofits, but keep your parishioners up to date with updates. If you're doing a parishioner or a church picnic, something like that. Youth groups. Another one could be if you're doing substance abuse, this could be a great way to kind of talk to folks, with substance abuse. Keep those groups going, those messages, the words of encouragement. If somebody needs to talk, at any time, and kind of keep it low key, this is a great way to kind of do that as well. Real estate and property management, the two things that I always think about, once again, just like, senior care, you can let all your residents know, hey, elevator's broken. We have somebody coming in a few hours. Nice way to do a mass text and just let folks know. Another way you can do this is the amenities or customer service. So you can do service appointment reminders. You can have basically a number dedicated to services or amenities, right? So, hey, I have my refrigerator broke. We have a light out. We have a leak somewhere. So you can have your residents send in text messages for these requests instead of phone calls, and then you can kind of, handle those however you'd like. Obviously, if there's a water leak, that's going to be something that needs to hit up, immediately needs to be fixed. If it's a light out, obviously, they could probably wait a little bit if a light's out. But you can kind of negotiate and handle these requests in whatever fashion you see fit, prioritize them, things like that. We talked about human resources a little bit, so I'm not going to spend too much time just, whether it's internal or external. The one thing that this slide does point out, it's a great way to kind of communicate with your candidates. So you can kind of keep them apprised of each phase of the process so that they're not in the dark. You can send them links to different things, upload your resume here, you need to take this test or whatever there, things like that. So with that kind of takes us right into Flex Text and our features. So text casts, think of it as a broadcast message. So if you have 500 contacts in your system and you want to send it out to 500 contacts, you can send it out to all 500. If you want to use tags, which is the next one, let's say you're doing tags via region, so Northeast Ohio or Southern Ohio, or by city, whatever the case is, but you want to send out a text cast, so a broadcast message, but only to Northern Ohio. Southern Ohio we'll do in August. We'll send a promotion out to Southern Ohio. You can do that using tags. And then time text, think of these as your appointment reminders or alerts. So time text, there's a few different functions in there, but typically it's appointment reminders. things like that. But you can also send out broadcast messages and different things via time text. So you can basically set it like today, if I wanted to send something out August 1st, I can set something up in our system to send out a text message on August 1st. Surveys, it's exactly what it sounds like, but you can set up a survey in the system and send out a text message and have folks reply to that survey and then capture that data. You can run a report on the survey. So I always like to use the example of a service technician. If you're out there doing a route and you're noticing you're losing customers, maybe send a survey out to everybody, and you might find out that the technician or the delivery driver is kind of nasty and he's kind of rude. So maybe you need to do a little bit of training or something like that, but might help you save some customers and keep some customers that way. Pathways are those automations. So think of it as like a menu. So you can kind of program a pathway to be a menu, press 1 for this, press 2 for that, and then give some information. So press 1 for a menu of our specials, or press 2 for hours and locations, and then it'll reply with the hours and locations or the menu, things like that. And then groups are a number of different things, but I always use the example of business groups. So if you are using the system for multiple purposes, so let's say for customer service, HR, and then marketing and sales, you might have a group and a number, because a number is a group dedicated to HR, dedicated to marketing, dedicated to customer service. It helps you kind of separate them, and they can all be shared as well. So you can have users on all the groups, one of the groups, things like that. One of the cool things of our system is you can actually set users up for role-based permissions so that they don't have access to everything in the system. A series is like a drip campaign. So those emails that everybody gets, I think everybody's familiar with that now. You can do the same thing via text. So best way to kind of think of this is if you have a web form submission on your website, new customer comes in, fills that out. You can actually automate this through Zapier, where you can create a contact in FlexText. You can send them a welcome message, and then you could subscribe them to a series. So, hey, don't forget, 20% off FlexText this week. Next week, you can set it up to where they get another message in that series. Hey, don't forget about FlexText, 25 or 20% off this week, things like that. Keywords, most folks are familiar with keywords as like text Vegas for a chance to win a trip to Vegas. That's what keywords are. So they have some automations that are tied to that word. So you can set up a series, a survey, you can send folks to a queue, you can have an automated response. So there's a lot of things you can do with keywords, and keywords are unlimited. It's really sky's the limit as far as what your imagination is. Queuing, like I said, it's just like a voice queue where a call comes in or a text comes in, and it sits in this queue, waits for one of the users to get to that text and respond to that text. Live agent, like I said, our system is two-way, so you can have that live agent just like it's a voice call, except it's via text. You go back and forth. You can have multiple chats or texts going on with different customers at the same time, so that's pretty powerful stuff. We have an open API, and we have Zapier integration, so you can automate a whole bunch of stuff. We'll even kind of consult you on how to do some of the stuff or best practices. And then reporting. There's various reports within the system that will show you who's opted in, who's opted out, your surveys, different things like that, logs, a whole bunch of different stuff. This is just the interface. Wanted to show everybody what it kind of looks like, put a little, put a face to the name, that sort of thing. This is what it looks like. You can kind of see all the stuff on the right. You can see some of the stuff on the left. So that's what the interface looks like. Plans and pricing. So there's two different types of plans. 10 DLC, just think of it as your 10-digit number. And then there's toll-free pricing. But basically we have 4 packages. And then if you need something custom, we're happy to work with you, especially if you're doing more than 10,000 texts. We created a package of only multimedia messages or picture messages. Most folks, 97% of folks don't really even use the picture messaging, but some will only use picture messaging for whatever they need, like the restaurant that sends out pictures of their food, things like that. But basically everybody gets 3 users or more. A user is concurrent, so it's how many users can be logged on at once. So you can have 10 users, just only 3 logged on at the same time. So think of it as if you're running 24/7 and you have 3 8-hour shifts, but you only need 3 users per shift. That's what you would use. Additional users are extra. We can always add those on. But basically, you can kind of see the packages here. It starts at 1,000 texts, goes up to 3, 6, 10,000. We give 10% of your package total to picture messaging. Like I said, if you need something custom, happy to kind of work with you and figure something out. But above and beyond all of that, everything else in the system outside of the API is unlimited. It's access. So Zapier, free, unlimited keywords, surveys, automation. So I know a lot of platforms out there kind of charge extra, if they'll give you a keyword, 2 keywords, but they charge you for more. Surveys, they might charge you, or automations, they might charge you. Go nuts, go wild, kids. You can have as many automations and keywords as your heart's content. We don't care. And then here's the toll-free costs. Toll-free is separate. It's a little bit more. Toll-free is a little bit more. It's just if you're familiar with toll-free minutes and voice, then it's pretty understandable. But packages are the same. Outside of the pricing varies just a little bit with the toll-free minutes. Yes. So I hinted about this earlier, but there's 3 different ways to kind of check out the system in action, right? So the easiest, I'm going to start right to left. You can see it in action if you text demo to 833-779-7700. It'll take you through some of the automation, surveys, series, things like that. I always recommend folks doing that. You can kind of see the power of it. And then if you want to see how that's set up or how do we do that, love to get you on a live demonstration. So we'll go all the way to the left of the PowerPoint here. Love to schedule live tours of FlexText because it's just, I like having conversations with people because most folks don't understand what a system can actually do for you until you kind of start talking in about their business and what they're trying to do. What are some of the pain points? How can we help? Here's how the system kind of maybe alleviate some things for you. And then finally, we have a 2-week free trial. 2 weeks, 500 texts for free. Just let me know. You can email techsales@flexipsolutions.com. You can call the 833-779-7700 number. You can text that number. You can always call me direct. My information was at the beginning of this, but 440-824-2601. You can call or text that number as well. So that pretty much brings us to the Q&A portion of our webinar here. Oops. So do we have any questions or questions for the group? Okay, here's a question. Are there contracts? That is a great question. No, there are no contracts. Everything is month to month. So that's why we kind of say there's really there's no liability. There's no exposure on this as a business or organization. It's really just the time. So if you don't like it or you don't think it works for you, then you can kind of cancel. You're not tied in for 2, 3, 5 years like it's a voice contract. And one of the things that we do here at FlexText and Flex IP Solutions is it doesn't matter. We want to set you up so that you're comfortable using the system, because just giving you the system to run, it's going to be intimidating. So we want to get you comfortable, which is why we do those live demonstrations. Another question. How do we go about custom packages? There are some things that we're thinking about, but it doesn't kind of fit into your packages. All right. So once again, you can call me direct. You can email that techsales@flexipsolutions.com. We would just get we'd love to just kind of find out more about what you're trying to do and how you would be using it. And then, we'll chat about what works for you. What can we do for you? We need to know what your requirements are. And then we would, figure out what kind of a system we can do for you. Another question. Yes, we can email the PowerPoint to you. Not a problem. All right, one more question. There's Are there rollover text messages? No. So we try to do all you can eat, but we do not have rollover text at this time. So it's kind of like use it or lose it type of thing at the moment. Another question, are there alerts on the system for users? Yes. So in the system, if you were a user, especially for customer service or sales, things like that. So as a text comes in, and it's hard to imagine this without kind of showing you in a live demonstration, but once again, think of it as a voice cue. As a text comes in, if it's sitting there and a user hasn't um, went and responded to that chat, you can receive an email and or text notification that the chat is being neglected. So we call them neglected chats, but basically if a text is sitting there and you get to choose, you know, is it a minute, is it 5 minutes, is it 15 minutes, but you can kind of choose what triggers that notification for that particular user. That way you're not missing anything. How easy is it for users to unsubscribe from text? That is a great question. So the system automatically is built in to, if you ever reply stop, the system automatically opts you out. There's also what we call text consent. So there's some functionality within the system where for initial text messages, so whether you're trying to drive folks in using a keyword, so their first text message back to you using keyword, you know, widget, let's say, or if you're, you know, text messaging out and they reply, the system can automate a message for them that basically tells them they need to reply yes to opt in or stopped to opt out, and then you can run a report on that. So one of the things that we kind of pride ourselves on is that we do not want this to kind of get bastardized and become spam like email. This is a very personal way to communicate. It's a very effective way to communicate. But the fact is, you know, we always try to consult or educate to be mindful about folks. If you're a national company, you can't just set up a text message to go out at, you know, 9 or 8 a.m. The folks on the West Coast might not want your text message at 5 a.m. Conversely, you probably don't want text messages going out 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So we can kind of help you, you know, educate you on the best practices for that, and also to stay compliant as far as the question from the last attendee, you know, how can they unsubscribe from text? You got to give them the ability to unsubscribe from text, and it should be built into almost every text. But natively, the system, even if you do not see the please reply stop to unsubscribe from these texts, even if that's not in there, if you reply stop, our system knows to opt them out. I think that is all the questions we have at the moment. So once again, thank you very much for your time. And if you have any other additional questions, if you'd like a free trial, if you want a live demo of this, happy to help you out. Feel free to use text sales at flexipsolutions.com. You can always use my email, mhostacki, my last name, at flexipsolutions.com. You can always call me at 440-824-2601. So once again, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. Have a lovely day.